Welcome into the first extra time then of 2022. Thank you as always for your tweets. Nedum, Craig and Frank with me. How did you guys bring in the new year? Frank, you were partying up till 4 a.m.
Yes, and I would be the first to answer the question of extra time, for 2022.
Oh.
Well, whatever. No, I had my in-laws and a good friend of mine. He was a legendary actor in France. He played in Moonraker, James Bond, as a French actor. And he was at home. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and he's a neighbor. And he came with his lovely wife, and we had the six of us, and we had a good Burgundy wine, and before a champagne rosé. Before that was great. We talked and we laughed, and it was fun. Really good, very good New Year's Eve.
Who talked the most, Frank?
Of course, me. Craig knows that. Of course, I'm always the guy who talks the most.
Craig, did you make it to midnight?
No.
No, that's not a surprise. What time did you...
No, I made it to about 11:30.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't be bothered staying up.
Oh, well done. Well done, Grandpa.
We FaceTimed our lad, our son in the UK who lives there, and he was in the pub.
Right.
So that was with his girlfriend. Watched a bit of TV. As soon as the fire went off.
Yeah.
As soon as the log fire went off, that was it.
That was it.
Bed.
Nedum, did you out in Manchester partying it up?
Yeah, not quite. We had 12 people at our house.
Oh.
But the downside was there were 5 kids under the age of 7 who were there, and they absolutely exhausted everybody.
Yeah.
So we were just the walking wounded come midnight. But we managed to make it past 12, had a few drinks, and then went back to bed, and we were woken up at 6, 7 a.m. anyway by all the kids. So yeah, it was a great New Year's. It's great to be back.
Yeah, happy New Year to you, Nedum. Okay, would it be a mistake to drop Lukaku versus Liverpool and send a message based on recent events, or better to start him and his game speaks for itself and the support hopefully get behind him again if Chelsea win and he plays well? Nedum, what do you think?
If he's the right man for the game, then he should be picked. I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think Tuchel would have spoken to Lukaku and asked him about the quotes, or maybe Lukaku went to him to explain them. So I wouldn't be surprised if that relationship is dealt with that particular situation. So if he's the right man, then pick him. But the downside is Lukaku can't have that conversation with all those fans that are going to be in the stadium.
Yep.
So they're going to be judging him slightly differently until he comes out and says something else. So I think you should play him. I'm sure he's desperate, because as he said in his quotes, he's a professional. He's a professional. Like, he made sure to mention that. So the fact is, if he's being selected, it doesn't matter whether he wants to be there, be somewhere else, be on the moon, who cares? He's going to do everything he can for Chelsea to try and win something this year. So I expect him to play, to do really well, and hopefully the crowd get behind him, and then he can explain his comments afterwards.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it, Craig? Because we know how fickle fans are. He scores a hat-trick in the first 10 minutes. They won't care about these quotes.
No, absolutely not. And listen, if he performs tomorrow and beyond, as I don't see any reason why not. I mean, he's got 2 goals already in the last 2 games, one off the bench, one starting. Then fans are not really fussed about anything other than commitment. And as long as he shows commitment on the field, and I'm sure that's a conversation that Tuchel has had with him. Listen, you've said what you said. Know you love Italy. Don't agree with it. Blah, blah, blah. But I just want commitment. And listen, Tuchel's not in a scenario to send a message. He's in a title race. And oh, by the way, he works for an owner who spends big and wants results. So he just needs to cajole the player. And I really don't think short term it's going to be an issue. I think down the road, longer term, what happens, that's a different story. But I think short term, as Nedum said, I don't see much difference in performance from Romelu Lukaku. He wants to score goals. He'll play tomorrow.
Frank, I'm not sure how much you've been following this story through your rosé champagne eyes, but just to take you through exactly what Lukaku said. He said that Inter Milan, he never wanted to leave. He said they have the best fans in the world. Talked about link up with Lautaro Martinez. He said, no, don't come to Chelsea. Wait for me. I'll be back at Inter soon. That leads us to the next question, which is what would it have been like for Lukaku to walk in a Chelsea dressing room when you were playing, Frank, after saying these sort of things?
Well, I don't know why he said that, but I had 2 other stories. When I see Sergio Ramos or Lionel Messi coming to Paris Saint-Germain and crying the day before coming on the press conference, nobody has been resentful toward them because they were happy to have them. And I just want to remember the fans that last year, the main concern that we have, even if Chelsea won the Champions League, we didn't have a striker. We complained about the fact that Chelsea didn't have a striker. They needed one. They have one. Okay, he made that, which is for me not a very clever comment, he should have kept that for himself. But he said what he said. But as the guy said, you know, if he scores 2 goals tomorrow in the first 10 minutes, they're gonna be happy with him and they're gonna cheer him up. So it's done to Romelu to do the job. And if he does and he scores goals, everything's going to be forgotten.
Dan, let's just look at this briefly another way. The boys will know dressing rooms can be a harsh place at times, but they can also be a great place for diffusing scenarios like this by humour.
Right.
And let's not forget that you know, and I don't agree with his timing of talking in the way that he talked about, you know, going back to Inter so soon and the love of the fans and don't come to Chelsea when they've made a big commitment financially on him. I don't agree with those comments. However, there are at least 2 or 3 Chelsea players out of contract in the summer and refusing at the moment to sign new deals. So commitment's not just about what you say in the press. So, you know, I don't foresee, bearing in mind, players look after themselves. This is going to be a scenario that becomes a problem within the dressing room. Unless, as I said yesterday, results just keep going south continually, then players will look for a scapegoat. But it's not just Lukaku talking about leaving a club. That's made the headlines. Azpilicueta's out of contract, Rudiger's out of contract, Christensen's out of contract, and certainly at least 2 of the 3 have refused to agree to terms. So you could look at that and say, well, where's their commitment?
Nedum, how would the City locker room handle this?
I think. Sorry, Dan.
Oh,
Dan.
sorry, Frank. We're New Year's Eve again. It's okay.
Sorry. Okay, you want to talk? You want me to talk or not?
Go on.
No.
Okay. It's just the fact that I think Lukaku would have played with us the day after. He would have come into the dressing room. We would have said, you know what? You crack us up, you know, you wanted to go back, you say that Chelsea is the best club in the world for you when you were young, and you signed for us, and you came back to us. So what kind of crap did you say to the press, you know? Now you have to deal with the fans. Good luck. We're going to be there, we're going to back you up, but you have to do the job. It would have been under pressure, but a nice pressure.
Right, I see. Nedum?
Yeah, firstly, if anybody at all is close to him, then none of this would be a surprise to what he's saying if they know that's to be the truth. But if you didn't know this, I think you'd have the right to go and ask him, say, what's going on? But then the fact is, one thing we've seen across many years within football is you don't necessarily need to get on with the people who you're playing alongside, and as long as the commitment's there, you can still be successful. So it's an interesting thing for him to say. But as as Louise was saying, the producer, to say that the Inter fans are the best fans in the world as you're about to play at home and you're committed to Chelsea, that is a bit out there. But it's weird because it feels like him saying what he said, it's almost like he's brand new, and he's a really intelligent guy, so I can't wait to hear what he says next in terms of trying to diffuse this, because it just feels unbelievable. Like, what happened? What went wrong? You know, it's so bizarre.
Meanwhile, Craig, do we need a Super League? All the top leagues in Europe, the winners are pretty much already decided, and we're only halfway through the season. The Italians are angry at that. They'll say there's still a title race in Italy.
No. I think I saw somebody talking about, one of the journalists talking about it the other day, that somebody said it's always been this way. Worryingly, it hasn't, and I think the number of teams able to challenge now is more limited than it was, and the money is flowing more readily and quickly to certain clubs. The disparity is getting greater, and I don't have the direct answer to solve that, but it's certainly not the Super League for sure. We might see a Man City win again this year. It's not been total domination. We talked about it yesterday. We have seen Chelsea, Liverpool and Leicester win leagues. But it is worrying when certain leagues have only 2 or 3 teams constantly that can just compete. So it is a concern. But no, I don't believe the Super League, I don't know what the guys think, I don't believe the Super League is the answer to these problems.
Nedum, do you care? City running away with the title, not as exciting as maybe it has been in the past?
I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. Don't know what you're talking about. Listen, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. They're just doing really, really well. But I think I know. But I think the danger is, I looked at the stat earlier, and under Pep Guardiola, City have had 4 runs where they've won at least 10 games in a row. And then the next managers to do that are like Sir Alex Ferguson with 2 and a couple other managers at 2. So when they get like this, doesn't matter whether you do really well, unless you're perfect, you're losing ground. And that's a shame. But one thing I would say, to be honest, is that if another manager was in charge of Manchester City right now, I don't think they'd still be in the same position that they're in. So you can talk about a Super League, but sometimes it's all the things together, as opposed to just the fact that this team have these players. But, you know, credit to them, and, you know, long may it continue if they're going to be playing the way that they're doing. And, you know, not everybody loves it, but I'm quite enjoying it for now.
Yeah, I bet you are. Frank, do you think if Chelsea lose tomorrow, they could end up not only losing the battle for the title, but also end up in a top 4 battle with Spurs quickly catching up and Arsenal playing as well as they're playing?
Well, it would be over for sure for the title, and they will have some concerns, you know, about the 4 behind them, or the 5 behind them, no, 4 behind them, sorry, coming back. But I believe that they are stronger than the 4 behind them, and they can catch and keep, sorry, the third spot. You know, that I always said. I think it's over for the first spot. Maybe they can fight for the second one, but I don't see them dropping and finish 4th, 5th, or 6th, or even 7th. No, I don't think. I think they're gonna finish 2nd or 3rd.
Final question, Craig. What position do Spurs need to address to make sure they finish top 4?
Make sure they finish top 4. Well, I think they're solid enough in goal with Lloris. Backlines looked okay. I'm going to say
centre back.
Well, centre back or centre midfield.
Right.
Winks has done well coming in, passing the ball. And I think Ndombele looks as if he's on his way out. He doesn't fancy him, I don't think. Skip played in there today. Central midfielder. Dynamic central midfielder.
Final question, Craig. How much of a role did you have in decorating the fireplace behind you?
None.
Yeah.
Is it decorated? This is the basement. This is not the lounge. This is the basement. The lounge. Mrs. Burley has the lounge fireplace decorated. This is the.
You still got baubles there and a wreath.
Yeah.
Not now. Not.
Christmas is over in the Burley household, if it ever really started.
So you have 2 fireplaces. You have 2 fireplaces.
Thank you very much.
Unbelievable.
We're done.
You must be so rich.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.